welcome to Brand Equity. I'm Sonali Krishna, and this is the only advertising and marketing show that gives you an insider's perspective. So, without wasting any more time, in the next half hour, we find out how metros rank in consumer spending. BPD's Bob Scarpelli talks about his plans, and you'll never guess who got into trouble over yet another scam ad. As the Indian market becomes more consumer-driven, it's a face-off between the super cities to show off their spending power. We asked industry experts to analyze a nationwide spending study across 6 categories. Priyanka Pradhan and Nikhilesh Sinha uncover the great Indian consumer bazaar.
One would imagine that a flashy national capital well known for its garish and conspicuous consumption would be leaps ahead of its peers in terms of sheer spending power.
I think Delhi spends more, definitely. Compared to Mumbai, I think Delhi does.
I think Delhi spends the most, obviously, because the thing is, Bombay things are available much cheaper.
Delhi, because Delhi people really like to eat out more, or they to show off a lot.
But proving all popular perceptions wrong, Mumbai lives up to its reputation of being the city of the young and restless, emerging as the biggest spender in the country. Believe it or not, Mumbai spends almost 3,000 crore rupees more than Delhi in a year. So how exactly did the commercial capital edge out the national capital?
The stock market performance was at the peak. The stock indices were at the peak. And therefore, significant amount of additional income could have been generated in Bombay.
Bombay is expected to be almost 25 to 30,000 crores as an addressable market today. So that's a very large chunk of the market.
Mumbai takes the top spot with a lead of 3,000 crore rupees more than Delhi, while Kolkata follows next with annual expenditure of 9,152 crore rupees. Cosmopolitan Bengaluru spends 5,689 crores, while Chennai finishes last by coughing up a figure of 4,683 crores annually. So how did Mumbai manage to outspend the very flashy Delhi NCR?
If you look at entertainment in Mumbai, it's not going to movies. A lot of that entertainment that you see there in that strip is because of eating out. And there's a lot of that practice which has emerged in Mumbai, much more than it was a couple of years ago. And that's really actually floated up the figures on entertainment.
Mumbai spends equally on food and groceries and entertainment, which together constitutes 88% of its consumer spends. With a hectic lifestyle and more number of meals eaten outdoors, this is where the average Mumbaiker spends most of its money.
It's pretty much like New York in a way, versus Delhi is Washington DC, So the options are much lesser. So it's also, I would say, a little cultural thing, because in Delhi, if they want to eat out, they want to pretty much make sure people know they're eating out.
While Delhi's conspicuous spending has landed it in the second spot, it easily outspends Mumbai in the apparel and retail categories. Delhi clearly spends a lot to look good and flaunts it too.
That reflection, of showing off of what I have, what I earn, and what are the symbols of showing is a clear manifestation in Delhi across categories, whether it's a car or the pen or the shirt or the mall where you shop or the kind of products that you buy or the brands of TV, etc. that you buy, is all reflection of that.
The surprising entry at number 3 is Kolkata, which has raced ahead of IT hubs Bengaluru and Chennai to make a mark as one of the fastest growing consumer magnets.
Calcutta it's got a huge population, and that population is dense. So that density of population helps the retail business a little bit more, because retailing is all about local catchments, local population. Research shows that consumers in India don't want to travel long distances. So from that point of view, Calcutta is a retailer's dream city.
Bengaluru, the IT and BPO hub, seems to have lost its sheen in terms of its spending power after the economic downturn in the country, although its cosmopolitan denizens still seem to be spending most on entertainment rather than basic categories like FMCGs and groceries.
I think the the city perhaps which would get most impacted would be Bangalore. So the whole Bangalore and outsourcing is really something that's under a lot of question.
Chennai, one of the major metros of the country, is right at the bottom. Conservative and traditional, but does spend a sizable chunk on jewelry and apparel.
If you compare it with a Mumbai or a Delhi or even a Bangalore, many more malls, in fact millions of square feet have come out in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore vis-a-vis Chennai, where in fact today, as of now, maybe there are only 2 or 3 malls worthwhile, their names, and maybe there are 6 or 7 planned, but another 3 to 4 years down the line. So the conservative image, non-availability of modern retail in large spaces, both combined put together, is making them more traditional spenders than what you see anywhere in India.
The economic climate in India may change, but the spending power across cities will not take drastic turns. Chennai and Bengaluru in the south, the IT hubs, will vie with Kolkata for that third spot. Mumbai and Delhi NCR will be locked in a battle for at least the next 10 years to earn the moniker of the biggest spender in the country.
After that magnum opus, it's time for more on our take on some of the most celebrated partnerships. This time round, we bring you one of the leading duos of the Indian advertising space. McCann Erickson's Prasoon Joshi and Perfetti's Chief Executive Sameer Suneja, and test the duo's mettle on B's compatibility quotient.
Best ad campaign for Perfetti.
It would be Happy Rent. Happy Rent and Center Shock.
Perfetti's best brand.
Alpenleibe and Center Fresh. All very good.
McCann's best ad.
Many. Happy Rent.
Your favorite production house.
Crocodile and Black Magic. I don't believe in production houses.
Best director in India.
Dadu, Abhijit of Black Magic. Ram Madhwani.
Piyush Pandey and Dadu.
You disagree most on?
On which script to make.
Approaches at times.
Most disagreed on campaign.
See, Happy Rent was such.
I wouldn't pick any one.
Your take on Sameer Suneja.
Blessed to work with some outstanding partners.
He's a dream client.
Your take on Prasoon Joshi.
I go with my gut feel.
Brilliant.
Who leads, who follows?
At certain parts of the business, one has to lead, and then there's certain parts of the business that the other leads.
It keeps changing.
Best celebrity to work with.
For me, it's Amir.
Our celebrities really are animals. We've done loads of animation.
Worst celebrity to work with.
Again, animals.
There is nobody worse.
What do awards mean?
They are just there to push our boundaries.
Our biggest award is when the brand works in the market.
What's Prasoon's weakness?
He needs to just figure a way out of better prioritizing.
Not being able to say no is my weakness.
What's Sameer's weakness?
He looks like a kid.
Always trying to do millions of things at once.
Perfetti needs to improve on?
There is still many segments of the market that are still unexplored.
They should be a little more aggressive, I think.
McCann's weakness?
I think we should be doing more.
That's always a challenge for McCann to keep bettering its own creative output.
Perfetti's biggest competitor?
Anything that goes into that mouth.
Internationally is of course Wrigley's.
If not McCann, then who?
Only McCann.
I hope not to think about that question.
India's greatest creative director?
Impossible to assess.
It is Piyush Pandey today.
Your favorite Perfetti candy?
My favorite is Happy Rent.
Cream fills?
Alpenleibe crocodile stands for?
I think it stands for greed.
Stand for greed.
So what does 25% compatibility mean? Well, we think you guys are as compatible as Bill and Hillary. They had their share of problems, but they stuck it out. So congratulations.
Well, so much for a long-standing partnership. Prasoon and Sameer, I bet that was a revelation. It's time for a breather, but stay tuned because on the other side, brand equity gets candid with Bob Scarpelli, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer of DDB Worldwide.